Now this is January 2022, and I awakened this morning with groin, hip pain on one side, on my right side. And I want to show you how to diagnose, understand how you can go right to the core region and right literally to the cell within that region. So what I have, again, I have my 9 stance widths. So when you wake up, first of all, I'm in the process now on a regular basis. These are my handle sizes. The largest recruits the back of my core zone in the back. The back has a front, middle, and back as well. So 3 zones in the back. I can recruit using that handle size. This is the internal core, what's called my middle core. We call this the lower core, but it's actually the back core, middle core, and this is the front. So this is a handle size. These handle sizes fit these zones, core zones. So exercising daily, doing the express, using each of these balances the core from front to back. So now that I've done that, once I awaken then, I've done it on a regular basis, I stay square, I do it virtually daily in all 3. So awaken with pain of any could be any pain anywhere, be in the neck, mid-back, low back, knees, wherever. This happens to be in my right groin. All I have to do is stand up and relax, let my arms hang, and notice that my right hand is higher than my left. And when you do this, you want to lean back. This is telling me that I have an issue somewhere in my body. Now that issue can be related to any one of these. It just happens to be that I did this zone last, this zone. So if I grip this handle, and this is the back core zone, and I relax and let my arms drop, my hands are exactly the same size. My middle finger is around the blue tape. Now I'm going to go to the mid, do the same thing, let my arms drop, and they're the same height once again. Now I'm going to go to the front, upper, as we know, upper core, and I just found the zone in which that pain resides. Now, I have finger sleeves because when I exercise, I'm using these finger sleeves. So I'm going to start with just the upper finger sleeve. Now that I've tested the zone, this was the last region I did yesterday. So I know it's on the front. I just tested it, I found it, and that's generally going to be the case. It's going to be the last. So when I did the exercises using all 3 core zones, the front was the last one I did. So here's my the lower part of the front of my core zone. And my hands are exactly the same. Okay? So I'm going to go to the middle part now. And I found it. So it's in the middle of the front. We know that for sure. And I'm going to go to the upper part, or the front anterior part of my core, of the front of my core. So it's the very front, and I'm good. So this resides in my middle zone, the middle of my anterior core, front core zone. Here it is again. That's the middle part. Now, so I've isolated. If you think about it, you have 9 zones. You have the anterior or front of the core zone, and you have a front, middle, and back of that zone. Then I have an interior core zone, which is the front, and I have a front, middle, and back of that zone, and I have a posterior core zone, and I have a front, middle, and back. So what I've been able to identify already is that this pain that I'm having is in the middle of the front of my core zone, front core zone, okay? So let's figure out exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to put a bar and bungee on. I'm going to flip through this quickly on the video, but to test this, I need to start with 1. Stand tall. This is the axial plane. You test it through planes of motion. This is the rotational, the torque or axial plane, okay? So if I have rotation, I know it's in that plane. So I'm good here. I add knee flex and I'm good. So this is the front of the axial plane. This is the back of the axial plane in that middle zone. So we are really starting to isolate down. Is it the axial plane? Is it the coronal or frontal plane moves right to left, if you will? Anything parallel to that? Anything parallel to this is on the axial plane. And now I have the sagittal plane. I have the sagittal plane. So as I step forward on 1, everything stays square. So I'm only going to do the forward because I have my toe locked on 0. So I go through exactly the same thing on 1 through 9. So here I'm on 2. Axial planes and the back is good. Add knee flex. Front is good. Take this trail foot and put the middle of the heel on 2, and I'm good. Okay? So I'm going to go through. I've already gone through all of this, by the way, 1 through 9. So now I'm going to, once you've done that, once you've tested the axial plane on that, you want to step forward, put your heel on your 0 point, and now I'm going to go to 1. I've already tested the axial plane front and back, so I'm going to test sagittal plane, step back. I'm good. Okay, that's 1. Sagittal plane, step back on 2. I'm good. And when you do this, I'm moving through this quickly, I know, but when you do this, you want to do it slowly. You have to be relaxed if you're going to find it. And I go to 3, and what I do is I'm loading into that right side, and I just found, and I can feel it now too. It just magnified. So I'm on 3. So if I go to 4, and when you do this, sometimes you'll find it's all in one zone, one region. 4 is my middle core. So back to 3, and you want to load into the foot that you, or the side that you've stepped back on. So there I found my discomfort. So I've gone from core zones, front, middle, and back. I've determined it's in the front of those core zones, and I have 3 sub-zones, sub-regions within that. I have the front, middle, and back. I found that it's in the middle, and I found that in my planes of motion, I've been able to identify this pain origin, after going through all of these, is on zone 3, which is just above the navel, the front on the sagittal plane. So I've been able to go right to the core cell. So what do I do now? Well, I can get a couple of things I want to do. I can get immediate relief by going to 3, okay? I can do the optimization for only that that region, that zone. So here it is. I'm going to turn my palms out. I'm going to recruit this zone. The optimization is great. I'm going to hold this and breathe. Optimization is great immediately for pain relief. So I want to get pain relief immediately. and I stand tall. Okay, now I'm going to go back to, I'm on 3. I'm going to go back to 0 and 3, and I'll see if I've impacted that zone. Now when I step back, I'm good. So how did I know? It's because we've isolated the optimization. We know exactly that, for example, this move forward recruits the front of the core in the sagittal plane. Okay, and you can go back and view our old videos where we've broken down each of these. So I've corrected it for the moment. That'll last me maybe 30, 45 minutes. The way to correct is for me just to go to my exercise. If I want immediate relief, that's how I'm going to get it. That's how I'm going to test it. I can test the planes of motion. But what I want to do is do the express now, in particular focused with all finger sleeves on, not just the one on my mid, recruiting my middle zone. I'm going to put all 3 finger sleeves on, I'll do the express, and I'll do all 3. Now, I could just wake up and correct that, okay? Could wake up and correct it by putting the finger sleeves on, doing all 3 of these handle sizes. These are my handle sizes, and do the express, and I'll feel fine. But if you're working in rehabilitation, if you're wanting to understand a weak muscle group and where I need to strengthen, that's telling me I have some work to do in the sagittal plane, middle of my sagittal plane in the anterior region. So every day you do these, if you're doing all 3, end on a different one. If you are, from the work we've done with movement disorders and gait, I would not, wouldn't leave you on the lower. If you're aging and have balance issues, because this will put you on the heels. If you're just working for pain management, I'd do all 3. If you're exercising, I'd end on a different one, do the exercise, but I always come back generally, and I'll finish on the mid. So I want the inner zone, inner core zone. That gives me balance, heel to toe balance. I'm very precise, gives me great mobility. For my age, my mobility is better than it was 40 years ago. And simply because of the express and the optimization. Again, always do the express before the optimization when you're training. To get immediate pain relief, if you've gone through the videos, you'll know how to identify it. So if you're working in rehab and you have somebody doing the exercises with the 3 handle sizes, with the 3 finger sleeves on, they'll be in much better shape. One of the things you'll find is with a fever of any kind, core tends to be disrupted on its own. So with health issues, you want to be doing the express on a regular basis. Thank you for watching.